This week's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/DJ Force X. There are over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Hello and welcome to the DJ Force X podcast. We are on episode 79. We are closing in on those triple digits, but this is going to be my last show in a couple of weeks. For a couple of weeks, I should say, due to me moving back to England. I am heading back in about a week and a half from recording this. I'm heading back to sort of the London-ish area where I was from before. Surrey is more specific on that front. But yeah, once I get up and running there, the podcast will continue. I've got to try and sort out some more interviews from that side of the pond because that's where I've been getting them mostly from. I guarantee when I get back there, it'll just be American bands after that. But you know, I digress. We are continuing along with this. I have a special guest this week. Let's bring up to date. I have Jay. He is one of the founding members of Public Service Broadcasting. They are kind of an instrumental, experimental audio experience, I suppose is the sort of best way of doing it, because they incorporate a lot of kind of musical styles, kind of rock music, electronic music, but we're laden with samples from service broadcasts and stuff like that, and news outlets and, you know, archive footage and whatnot. And they've got a new album out, or coming out, in July the 7th, called Every Valley. It's available by Play It Again Sam Records, so it'll be out digitally and physically around the world. And yeah, it's like I said, it's called Every Valley, and it's basically, the concept of it is the rise and fall of the mining industry in South Wales, which you may think off the top of your head, why or how random, but it works. It's just a story. It's a concept album about this particular subject, and the message from it actually will span into a lot of things going on right now, as much as it did back in, I think, the 30s, 40s, 50s, all that kind of stuff. So they've got some special guests on the album as well. You can hear that in the interview. We'll go over those. And yeah, do check it out. I'm very passionate about the people that I speak to in these interviews. I don't just take them because they're there or because they've got hundreds of thousands of followers or anything. I never pick a band or anything like that. I pick them because their music speaks to me. And I'm, like I say, I'm very passionate about music. Is a big part of my life, being a DJ, being a musician, all that kind of stuff incorporated. And yeah, this lot, I'm new to this band. I'd only recently discovered them due to this new album. Yeah, it totally surprised me because it's something I would have latched onto if I'd heard them sooner. Watching their live performance at Brixton Academy via a video feed it was mesmerizing. I wish I was there. It was just kind of a lot of stage, like an oral experience, like I'm going to say in the interview as well, but the sonic sounds, the visual effects, and just you know, three or four guys on stage having fun, you know, and it just works. It's fantastic. But yes, thank you everyone who's downloaded the show, who's supported me here in Florida. I'm looking to go for the Creative Loafing nomination again, like I did last year, because technically I'm still in Tampa and their nominations close, I think, in the next couple of days of recording this. But if I have made it, then obviously I'm up for voting for that. But I'll take, whenever that happens, we'll go to that. But yes, I've enjoyed my time here. Like I said, I want to thank everyone, local, like, area support, like Cypher Machine, a couple of the promoters who have been fantastic in letting me access to the shows, and yeah, just State Theatre. You're my favourite venue round here. The local 662, which unfortunately is closing. All these venues. Janus Live was one of the first places I went to see a live show here. In fact, it was the Deftones that I saw there, and it's like a small outdoor venue. It was bizarre yet fantastic, because seeing the Deftones after seeing them in huge arena shows in the UK, seeing them in a more intimate setting from when I first saw them back at the Astoria days, was fantastic. And then I saw bands like the Arctic Monkeys there as well, when they were kind of trying to break over here. And it was great. That's a great venue. But State Theatre, I've hit a lot of bands there: Fozzy, Andrew WK, Cypher Machine, Skindred. They all came over here. They all played that venue. And yeah, it's been a fantastic time here. And obviously all my colleagues at work and everything as well that I've been doing here are great as well. But yeah, I just wanted to thank the music community for embracing and supporting. And the scene around here is something I haven't seen in a long time from a music scene. And yeah, the proper kind of like bands banding together and selling tickets together, trying to help, like when they have national acts come through, selling tickets for those shows and just being supportive of each other. There's very little like bitching and rivalry, which I've seen corrupt so many like local, like good local scenes that have kind of come through and you know, died because of it generally. But in this case, around here, it's very vibrant, and I hope to bring that attitude back to the UK of trying to promote a scene, getting a bunch of bands together of different genres, different ilks, different attitudes, and making it work, you know, because that's how bands survive. You've got to elevate each other. You can't elevate yourselves. You've got to climb with the rest of them, and you've got to help bands climb. You know, it's all a team effort when it comes to it, and then it all pays off in the end as well, because you know, once you get a little bit of notice in that area, then a lot of people start noticing that area, and then bands can go off on their journeys as they are, as they want to do at that point. But anyway, I'm rambling on here, and you're here to listen to Jay from Public Service Broadcasting. But yeah, that was just for me saying thank you guys. And yeah, so this is going to be it for a couple of weeks, but I will be back. Check out my radio shows on totalrock.com. I've got 2 on there. I've got Crossing the Streams on Tuesday nights at 11 p.m. UK time. And then Sundays, which is DJ Force X in Conversation, where I air these interviews with the music. That is 6 p.m. UK time as well. But for my US counterparts, Crossing the Streams does air on Full Freak. That's FULLFREQ radio.com. Every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And also the Mix.fm, that's MIXX.fm, at 11 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday nights. That's Crossing the Streams at those times. You can work out your local area time from the Eastern Time. So if you're Central or if you're Pacific, you can work that out on that front. But they've got an app, Full Frequency got an app, free app on the App Store for Android and iOS. Also, TuneIn Radio, you can hear them both on that particular app, which is a free radio app. Check that out. It's available on all formats. It's also available as a web browser as well. Not a web browser, but it's online at tunein.com. But yes, again, thank you. I love you. And yeah, this is Jay from Public Service Broadcasting. Enjoy. How you doing?
I am well, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Thank you. First up, thank you for doing this.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, no worries. I appreciate your time and everything. So, yeah, we'll just go into a couple of questions, if that's all right.
Yep, no problems.
Cool. So, I'd like to welcome Jay. He is one of the founding members of Public Service Broadcasting, a band out of the UK. They're just about to release their third album. Is that right? Third album?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Called Every Valley. Is out on July 7th on Play It Again Sam Recordings. Yeah, welcome, Jay.
Thank you, yeah.
Cool. So, yeah, just for the benefit, because a lot of my listener base, obviously you hear from my accent, I am English, from England, but a lot of my listener base are from the States. So I was wondering if I could just get just a brief background on the band itself.
Yeah, well, we've been going for, in various guises for about 8 or 9 years now. Starting off as just a solo project where I was using kind of speech samples coupled together from public domain stuff and BFI stuff to sort of tack onto instrumental kind of rock electronic music to now where we're much more of a kind of solid 3-piece band, and the actual kind of the speech samples and the bits of archive that we're using are much more central to the albums that we're writing and sort of to trying to tell a story with them.
Yes, no, I mean definitely with your forthcoming album, I I noticed that it does have a running theme on it of the coal mining industry in Wales specifically.
Yes, that's correct.
How did that idea come about? Because it's I mean, just it's kind of it's random, but it's also very interesting. So where did that idea come from?
Well, it came from because of the way we work, we have to be relatively pragmatic about, if we want to write about a subject, does the material exist, and can we actually get hold of it to use it? And in this case, we knew that the BFI had a whole load of mining material, and it just seemed to me like an interesting kind of step off the road that we seem to be on with the race for space, and kind of carrying on in that vein. I didn't want it to become predictable or kind of keep writing about the same kind of subjects. So it seemed like an interesting way to go about it. And the more research I did about the subject, and the more I kind of got stuck into the stuff surrounding the strike in the 80s here in the UK, the idea of centering it on one community really started to appeal, in South Wales in particular, because of the strength of the community there and just the sort of the geographical peculiarities of the region. It started to make sense as an album. And it does seem like a slightly random choice, I guess, but it's a story that just grabbed hold of me and wouldn't really let go.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a couple of tracks from that album so far. I heard Progress, and they gave me a lamp when you had is it Haiku Salute as the guest on that particular track. Both fantastic tracks, and obviously once reading up a bit more about you guys and finding out the sort of the concept for this forthcoming album, it made sense to me at that point, because I didn't look anything up before listening to them. But no, it's a fantastic idea. On like just the concept alone is great. So how does the writing process for that start? I mean, do you go through these archives of interviews and audio sound bites and then just build the music around them, or do you already have a kind of an idea of how the music's going to be?
Well, I think first and foremost, I've got an idea of the structure of the album. So I've got an idea that I want to write songs starting from A and ending up at B, and they've got to take in these various subjects. So that's kind of like the basic research of, reading some books or watching some documentaries or, anything that goes into basic research around any project, really. So that's kind of there as the framework anyway. And then you've got, most musicians will have this probably, but they've got a little bank of kind of ideas that they've been mucking around with, or this little riff emerged then, or that little kind of keyboard thing happened then. And, you're just kind of mentally matching that up as you're going through archive material. You're mentally matching it up with subjects. And with a song like Progress, I was going through the archive. I knew I wanted to write a song about mechanization, about man and machines, and kind of, the question of what progress really is. And, anything about those subjects, as soon as it came up, I'd write it down and kind of, make extensive notes. And then, the samples always go on late in the day. Whether or not I found them early or not, they always go on pretty much last. It's about kind of getting the musical ideas right before you kind of start kind of sprinkling the samples on.
Cool. And on this album in particular, you've got a couple of guests joining. Obviously, we already mentioned one of them, Haiku Salute, who are kind of a electronic folk trio. Is that an accurate description of?
I think as far as any description of any music, I'm terrible for it. So that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, no, that's all good. And you've got you got James Dean Bradfield guesting on the album, Manic Street Preachers fame, and very big Wales person as well, Welsh person.
Not literally, yeah.
No. Is he guesting as a vocal, or is it more an instrumental guest that he's on there for?
No, he's singing. We adapted some words from an Idris Davis poem from the 30s, which uncannily apply to the situation in the 80s and even to now, actually. And he's singing. He kind of came up with a melody for them and matched it to a song that we'd written, and it's very much a collaboration, that song. And I think it just, working with more singers on this album, it just kind of gave us a bit more adaptability and flexibility to kind of try different things and try telling the story in a different way. And to be able to use a poem in that way is not something we'd be able to do with just straightforward archive, I don't think. So it was just it's an interesting way of approaching, a different way of working.
Excellent. Yeah, I was going to say it's one of your first sort of times you've had guest vocalists on your material, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, we'd worked with Smoke Fairies on the last album, and we'd had choir and various singers before that as well. But yeah, I think they're definitely unquestionably a more central part of this album.
Cool, excellent, excellent. So, I mean, on from that, the your live show. Now, I've been able to watch your Brixton show, actually, the one you recorded for a DVD. Was it last year? It was last year. And
Yeah.
like having that kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of oral presence, where it's kind of like you've got this obviously the sonic of the music, and then you've got the visuals as well. How do you plan that live show out? Is that something you do on your own, or do you have a team with you, like collaborative effort with a bunch of sort of like visual artists?
We've got our visual artist and set designer, Mr. B, who came up with, for the Brixton show, he built us the Sputnik that we had, which is kind of like a rising LED version of Sputnik that we could kind of put messages across and had a little screen on it. And he kind of hung the Starfield effect, where it's kind of, lots and lots of fairy lights basically hung at great height and controlled individually, so you can kind of make them twinkle like a Starfield when the house lights are off. So we're kind of constantly, batting around ideas for production in that respect. And in terms of, dismantling the songs on record and working out how it's going to work live, me and Wrigglesworth, the drummer, and Jeff Abraham, the bass / keyboardist / percussionist, we're always kind of talking about, maybe you could do this, maybe I could do that, we could loop that, change that, you play that, do this, control that, and, trying to make it as interesting and musically engaging as possible, really.
Yeah, because I was thinking with your sort of like live sound, is there much room for obviously like on the spot improvisation? Purely because obviously I know you kind of ride sort of various samples and things like that, and they're obviously timed. Do you have that sort of flexibility within your sets?
I think as much as any band, could probably not just stick an extra verse in off the cuff. There are certain places where we do have to hit a certain mark for a certain sample to work. And there are other places where we do leave room for spontaneity and change, and these songs change over time, playing them every night anyway, because you're always trying little things and adding things and taking things out, and it's a kind of constant evolution, really. There's a couple of moments, like the end of Lit Up at that Brixton concert, where it's just totally off the rails, as it were, and it's a really kind of, it's nice to get those moments into the set and get that kind of more spontaneous human performance in there, as well as having the the really strong effect of having music sync to video and sync to kind of speech samples.
Yeah, cool. So when it comes to playing live as well, how do you select? Obviously, you've got 3 albums now. How do you select your songs? Do you play them kind of like the consecutive order, so one album, another album, or an entire album in one go, or do you like try and mix them up?
I don't think I'd ever be up there, really. We've been asked to do the Race of Space twice in full, so we have, they were really interesting and really fun shows. But in the actual concert setting, I think we're no different to any other band, really. We just mix and match songs from different albums, and it might seem on paper as if it's a bit kind of random or scattershot, but it would be the same with any other band, and any band addressing that subjects other than 100 love songs or something. Bands do jump around in sets. There are changes of tone and pace and subject, and I think that's a good thing. And you can almost use that to your advantage in a way once you get used to doing that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could with your music. I was just sort of curious how that works. Obviously, you have stories running through your albums, and just whereabouts you would entwine them with your other material and things. So just kind of making it. But as you said, it's like any other band. You kind of like you structure your set to the way you kind of feel that it's going to go up, going to go down, and move the crowd with you. So cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
So I've got a couple of questions there for you, Jay. If that's cool. I just want to get a couple of things more about yourself. What is kind of on the spot question? What 3 albums influenced you whilst growing up? What kind of made you the musician and person that you are today?
Probably quite a cheesy one, but one that I'm unashamed about is Nick Kershaw, The Riddle. That's one of my earliest musical memories. Is listening to that in the back of the car, because my dad would play it quite a lot, and he was a really interesting songwriter. I think because he kind of came with a sort of teen pop tag to him. I don't think he necessarily got the credit or the respect he deserved for what were really kind of quite offbeat and peculiar pop songs that he was writing at the time. And I think, they still stand up today. Otherwise, I mean, the big one that kind of blew up my sort of teenage years was definitely Maybe.
Yep.
It was just kind of, that's the album that made me sort of gravitate towards the guitar and start wanting to, be in a band. And The Holy Bible by the Manics, that was the other one, the big kind of one growing up. I mean, there's been hundreds of albums since then, but those are three
pinnacles,
cornerstones, I suppose. Yeah.
Cool. So, I mean, working with James Dean Bradfield must have been a massive moment for you then. That was one of your...
Yeah, I still struggle to believe it actually happened. Yeah, and I was struggling to keep it together while he was doing vocal takes. I was trying to produce him, and not that he needed much production because he's incredible, but trying to just suggest maybe we do this, maybe try that. It was hard to concentrate because I just kept thinking, he's singing on one of your songs, and then just had to give myself like a slap around the face and just be like, he just wants to be treated like any other musician because I know he does, because he's a very kind of straight ahead and sort of down to earth guy. And you should treat him with that respect, really. So I managed to sort it out, but I still can't quite believe it, but it came off.
Excellent. That's all good. So do you have any hobbies away from your music? So when you're not writing and performing, what?
Do you know, that's a good question. That is a good question, because I think I probably have what a lot of people in music have, which is where music is their hobby. And then if you're lucky enough to start doing that for your living, then you kind of don't really have a hobby anymore. And it leaves you in this strange place where the thing that you used to do to relax and for pleasure, it has changed slightly. And it leaves you in a slightly weird position of, not wanting to pick up the guitar at the end of the day because, you've been doing that for a fair chunk of it anyway. I think, I've been trying to get into gardening a bit, but it's hard work.
Yes.
I don't think I'm very good at it. I need to do a lot more of it, basically.
It is difficult.
Being away on tour isn't so good for that either.
No, it does need almost constant attention as well. So, all good.
Yeah.
So, what are the plans for the band? Actually, I forgot to breach that. Have you guys got a tour coming up? Any specific shows you want to shout out to?
Yeah, we're touring the UK in October. We're doing lots of festivals over the summer, but the big event for us, I think, is certainly the October tour. 2 weeks sort of around the country. Mm-hmm. Really looking forward to that.
Cool. So finally, where can people reach out to you guys? Where's the best source of information that people can go to find out?
Well, publicservicebroadcasting.net is the website, but we're on all the usual kind of digital paraphernalia. So PSBHQ on Twitter and Public Service Broadcasting on Facebook. I'm sure you could find us with relatively little effort, hopefully. We're out there.
Cool. Well, Jay, thank you very much for your time. That's all I have for now. Good luck with the album, and good luck with the tour as well. I hope to come. I'm actually moving back to England in a couple of weeks, so I'm hoping to catch you guys, I think, at the Guildford Festival. The one there, because that's going to be the most local one to me. So hope to catch you guys there at that one. So, like I said,
great.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks for your time.